Hello, everybody. Hi, Louie.
Good morning, everybody.
It's Kanoa and Lui with Baja123.com. We haven't done a border crossing update video in a while, so I thought let's do a border crossing update video, but we're going to do a little bit different today. So we're going to actually talk to you guys about what we suggest you do when you're crossing the border. Because if we did just a regular border crossing video and gave you the times, by the time you see this video, it's going to be different. So we figure we get this question asked to us over and over again about what about the border crossing, what to do, what are the best times to cross, when should you cross, what are the best days, and so there's really no easy answer for that, but we're going to give you some of the tips and tricks that we have to try to make that border crossing a little bit less stressful of an experience. So Louie, where should we start?
Well, most importantly, I think what we have to talk about is the travel restrictions that are in place right now. We've been hearing online and in the news that the travel restrictions are going to be lifted by a certain date, and they keep on getting extended. So what I'd like to start with is I'm going to share with you guys the U.S. Embassy and Consulate page for the United States. And in there, we see that the restriction remain active or in effect until April 21st, 2021, which I don't believe that's going to happen. I really believe that the U.S. government is going to keep and continue extending.
You think they're going to keep going?
Absolutely.
No way.
It's happened over and over.
No way. They got to open that border up. It's been too much.
I
There's
know.
too much commerce that's got to be going back and forth. Think about it. All the people with visas that have been waiting to cross that haven't been able to cross into the U.S. right now. I mean, there's so many Mexicans that are living here that have tourism visas that have not been over to the U.S. for over, what, a year now?
Yeah, more than a year.
More than a year
More
now.
than a year.
And
Yeah.
I just can't believe it. They've got to open that border up.
Absolutely. And I think one of the things that we need to understand is who can and who cannot go across, because there's a lot of people and a lot of misconceptions where people are saying, well, if I'm a U.S. citizen, can I go back home if I come down to visit Mexico?
Right.
If I have a doctor's appointment, if I have a dentist appointment, if I have a real estate appointment, what can I do? Am I able to go across
What is
that?
essential travel? What does that mean?
Exactly. And so I think if you guys visit this website, you guys are going to get your questions answered. But mainly what you need to know and keep in mind is citizens and legal residents of the United States are able to go across the border easily. When you come across to Mexico, I don't think that we have a lot of restrictions. As long as you have some sort of like appointment confirmation, even if they ask you, where are you headed? If you have that confirmation, then you can just come across.
Some people were using lease agreements or those stuff, but I don't know. I know at a certain point when the pandemic was really tough. I know Mexico was actually turning people around sometimes. I don't think they're doing that anymore right now.
They're not doing it anymore, and people are feeling a little bit more confident about coming down because they have been vaccinated. Over the last weekend, we had a lot of people coming down to Rosarito. I'm going to ask our editor to throw in some images of this weekend. And a lot of people, they went and interviewed people, and they were asking them, where do you come from? And they were coming from either San Diego or Mexicali, places where it's really hot.
And I have to tell you, most of those people weren't here for essential.
They were not.
They were here for margaritas and fish tacos.
Absolutely. And I think most people, when they were interviewing them, and then they were asking them, do you feel safe around here? And they were saying, well, yes, because I've been vaccinated, especially the people coming from the U.S. Even though here in Baja, most of the elderly people have gotten their vaccine. People coming from the U.S., they're feeling comfortable because they were already vaccinated.
So let's give some people some good advice, because we've crossed a lot. We've lived down here for many years. I think I've lived here 15 years. I feel a little bit more comfortable crossing. For those people that haven't crossed that often, let's tell them, what should they have with them as they're crossing right now?
Well, obviously, you want to bring your passport with you. That is the best and safest way for you to prove your citizenship or that you belong to the United States. The legal residents of the United States should bring their green card or residency cards, just so that when they come across, if they ask them for paperwork, they can prove it. And obviously right now, Mexican citizens with visas, tourist visas, they're not allowed to go into the United States. So if you are a Mexican citizen
and you come and you cross and you're on a visa and we're already in the U.S.
You were in the U.S.
Right.
You have a visa and you come across.
It's
not
hard
easily
until they open it up.
Exactly.
So, but let's say for the people that are American citizens, when you're crossing down here, you want to either have your birth certificate and or your passport
Well, passport is better. So it's always better to
yes.
have your passport, either the passport card
or
the passport book.
or your travel card. I think they got the travel card now, right? That you can use to cross the border. Now they ask us, well, what happens if I don't have that? Well, we've had clients, and it's different everywhere. But I'm just going to let you know that I don't think they can stop entry to any U.S. citizen.
They cannot.
Right? Even if you don't have your paperwork. They can make it more difficult for you, where you can go into Sentry, and they're probably going to need to prove your, not Sentry, but
Sentry,
secondary.
Right.
And they're going to have to prove, you got to prove your citizenship some way, right? But I don't think they can stop you. It's just not going to be as easy of a crossing.
Correct. Right. What you can prove or show is your driver license, or an ID, a state ID, to prove your person, yourself. But other than that, I don't think they can stop you.
But to make it easy, have your passport, your travel card, and or a birth certificate. Those three things should help you
get through.
And a form of ID that should help you get through the border crossing. The crossings right now are actually pretty busy. Even with the restrictions that are going on, I'm still seeing that there's some weekends and some weekdays that are a considerable wait time.
Yeah.
So, Louis, let's talk about what are some of the best ways. What's the best time to cross, Louis? What day is the best day to cross?
That's funny because it changes, and it really depends on the amount of people that come down. Most people have said, do not try to go across the border on Monday morning because it's rush hour. People are heading back to work, and it's just, a nightmare. I've heard other people say, maybe Sunday night is better because the border is a little bit easy, but it's really difficult to guess,
Yes,
and in order for us to tell you, do not guess when you go back across the border, we're going to give you some tools. And the first tool that I really want to talk about is...
Well, let me say something really quick. It's funny because you would ask 100 people that question, and you're going to get 100 different answers.
Yeah.
Because everybody's got their own recipe for when to cross, especially the people that are crossing the most. Mm-hmm. So you want to think about, there is some basic things you want to think about that. Obviously, holiday weekends, when people are coming down here, and then when they're going back, those holiday weekends, there's going to be a lot of traffic going back. When I used to cross a lot to help, when I was taking my dad across for medical and stuff like that, and I would always be trying to time the border on special days and times, and really, like you said, it's hard to do. But normally I'd like to miss that morning rush hour where everybody was going to work from Tijuana to San Diego.
Correct.
So I'd like to come in after that. And if you look at some of the times, usually from 5 in the morning to sometimes at 10 o'clock in the morning is some of the busiest times.
Right.
Right. And then you've got everybody that's leaving Tijuana in the afternoons. That can also be some of it. But there's, once again, everybody has their own, their own recipe for thinking when to cross and when it's going to be the good time, when it's not. And that also has to do with how hard they're checking. So it depends how tight the borders are, how many lanes they have open, and it depends on the border agents, how hard they're looking at the vehicles. Some days they are waving people through, and some days they're checking every vehicle. And so that's where it makes it really hard to have a really black and white system to this.
Exactly. Some people have chosen to go across on Saturdays because there's less traffic. People are staying over the weekend, and Saturdays usually is a light day for you to go across the border and come back quickly. But the other thing too that can also help is getting your Sentry or Global Entry pass. Right. Because a lot of people are getting now, into the program, but it's taking a long time to get approved. So if you are planning on getting your Sentry or Global Entry, try to apply as quickly as possible because I've heard that it takes even a year to get an interview.
Wow, they used to have those, they were down to almost 60 days, I think, at one point. It's probably because of the pandemic, right? Yeah. So, but other than that, for everybody that thinks they have the perfect times to cross, it's really hard to, every time I think I've got it figured out, my recipe or my system, fails. I'll end up in the border for a couple.
You know
hours
what? It would be interesting if you guys can leave it in the comments below. Yeah. What's your secret recipe? And
I would love to see if anybody's got it really figured out. It'd be interesting to see. But go ahead. For those of us that have to go in and look, here's some tools that we recommend to go use these tools, because that way it'll help make it a little bit less painful for those people that have to cross a lot.
Absolutely. One of the tools that we use constantly is bordertraffic.com. And we're not sponsored by them, so this is not like we're trying to sell you anything, but it's a really good tool. And the reason for that is because you can not only get live traffic cameras, But you also get, if you have the paid account, you get access to other tools.
Yeah,
such
it's a
as
really
schedules and so
inexpensive
forth.
app for people that are crossing a lot, because it'll show, like you said, it'll show you the live cameras of the different crossing points of what it looks like then. And I don't remember how much it is, but you can go to bordertraffic.com, sign up. They have some free cameras that you can look at, and then you can upgrade to the app. I recommend it. I have it. I tell all of my people, my friends and family that are crossing to get it, especially if they're going to be coming back and forth a lot. It's one of those tools. What's another way?
The other way is Rosarito Living Facebook group. The Rosarito Living Facebook group has over 29,000 members. They're getting close to 30,000 members. And in this community, they help each other a lot. I've seen people coming in and just basically reporting, I am at the border, I'm sitting here, I've been here for an hour, do not come right now because the border is really packed. And other people are going there and asking questions. Is anybody at the border? Can you tell me, how backed up it is? And they help the community a lot. And there's a lot, because there's a lot of people, to help you connect with more information.
And Rosarito Living Facebook group is just an amazing tool, not only for border crossing, but for navigating Rosarito, knowing what events are going on, getting people involved with any questions that you might have about Mexico and stuff like that. If you're not part of that group, I highly recommend you come in and you join Rosarito Living Facebook group if you're going to be a regular visitor to the area.
Now, the other tool that you can also access is the CBP website, which has somewhat accurate information.
This is the government website,
It's a government website. It's a little bit difficult to understand because you have to go through a lot of little options here and there to let them know, what you're looking for specifically. But the other thing that you can do is to go to our Baja123.com website and go to the border wait times. It's right up on the menu, on the main menu. And once you access in there, we have a couple of tools. Number one is the live camera, so you get a live feed of the border crossing camera, but also right below that we have the border crossing locations and wait times. And what that will do is that will give you access to the specific website or page with the feed that will tell you what the San Isidro border wait times are for Otay and Tecate.
So what we always try to do is in Baja123.com is we want to make it easy for everybody. So as we find stress points or things that we think going, hey, wow, this would really help the clients that are coming down here, we try to put it into our website there. So the border crossing page, we're going to put everything that we're talking about today. We're going to have it all in there so you can find it easily, so you're not having to take notes if you're driving or if you're not in a place where you can remember all this. Just search in Baja123 border crossing and you'll get to that page. It'll come up number one on Google, and you'll have everything that we're talking about right now.
Yep, and it'll give you easy access to everything, phone numbers, links, etc.
Yeah. So anything else that you feel is a good, also before we go, is that I think there might even be a border crossing Facebook group that's specific for border crossing. And so for all of you Facebookers out there, you might want to look for that, because I saw somebody starting a border crossing Facebook group, which maybe just is for the crossing the borders, which it might be something you might want to look into.
You know what? Nowadays, Facebook offers a lot of tools that we're not even familiar with. It's just growing every day. So I would definitely search for that group.
Well, I really want to say thank you, Louis, for helping us out with all this information. Like Louis said, if you guys have your favorite time of crossing, or how you think you might be able to beat the border crossing wait time system, let us know, and they're probably like, no, we don't want to tell you because you're going to tell everybody else. Then everybody's going to know, right? I don't know. Anyways, you guys,
that's actually true.
This video is brought to you by Baja123.com. We are a real estate company for Baja, and this is how we sponsor, and we're able to provide you these videos. Please like and share it. And if you're buying or selling luxury real estate in the Rosarito Beach area, make sure you give us a call. Thank you, everybody. Have a great day.
Bye-bye.